guys so much for joining us today. We have Suzy from Hip Mountain Mama. She is an amazing small business owner who runs an entire retail site out of her home. And we love her products. All of her clothes are handpicked, selected, amazing. You may have seen us modeling them in various places because we love, love, love supporting small businesses. And we have great collaboration relationships with so many amazing vendors. So we wanted to spotlight Suzy and all that she does. So please enjoy this episode without any further ado. Thank you so much for joining.
Yay! Yay! Well, I'm so excited to have you on our podcast. So normally what we like to do is just kind of go through, you can give a quick introduction about yourself and like what you do, but obviously I already know what you do. So I'm going to like kind of pull my questions from that mindset.
Okay.
But yeah, tell us about yourself and what you do.
So my name is Suzy, and I own and operate Hip Mountain Mama, which is an online retail store. I've been doing that for about 15 years. I also teach yoga, so I have that business as well. I've got two daughters, 19 and 16, live in Northern Colorado, just run my business out of my house. And it has been an amazing journey. So it's been fun. There's been ups and downs. And it has taken lots of turns and everything, but it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Your kiddos are like big kids. My girls are not quite that old yet, but I definitely, I can see it from where I'm at now. And I'm like, okay, you were doing this while you had them at this age. And like that in itself is a challenge.
Yeah. They were about 1 and 3 when I started Hip Mountain Mama. And never thought that I would just keep doing it. So it's crazy that I'm still doing it.
Yeah. So what inspired you to start Hip Mountain Mama from the beginning? Like what was your why?
Yeah. So, it's a little bit of a longer story, but my kids were little and I was basically a stay-at-home mom who I think a lot of stay-at-home moms, like they want to do something, to either contribute to the household income or just to do something. And so I started when the kids were little, I would like babysit other kids and just find like random things to do. And then my sister was working for this company. It was this lady who owned an online retail store and she moved overseas. So she needed somebody in America to house her inventory and ship it for her. So my sister was doing this, and then for whatever reason, she didn't want to do it anymore. So asked me if I wanted to do it. So I was like, sure, that's something I could do. So I moved the inventory into my basement. It was just an unfinished basement. And basically this lady, she ran the website and everything. She would email me when orders came in. I would ship them. For her. And I think she paid me like $10 an hour or something. So that was something on the side. And then I did that for, I don't know, maybe a year. And then I had this friend who wanted to start an online business selling her hand-dyed yarn. And we were big knitters at the time. So I thought, okay, that would be fun to like help somebody start an online retail store. So I helped her a little bit with that. And then I had bought these knitting bags thinking that it would be great to like sell these knitting bags on the website as well. For anyone who's a knitter, they were like namaste bags. They're not in business anymore. But so I bought those bags, and then my friend decided she didn't want to sell those on her website. So I kind of like had these knitting bags. Like, what am I going to do with these knitting bags? So I decided, I was like, why don't I start my own online store? So I literally sat down with my husband and we like tried to decide on a name and, what was I going to sell? And literally in a day, like we came up with the name, Hip Mountain Mama, and, went and talked to an accountant, went and, got it registered, did all the things. And then I like put these knitting bags on the website and they sold like crazy. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can do this. So I literally started out selling knitting bags. And then I was like, I added things like candles and random stuff. And then I started selling like baby carriers and cloth diapers. And it was very much like what I was into at the time is what I was selling. Yeah. So it didn't even start out as a clothing store, which is what it is now. And then I had a friend who was selling her handmade like hippie skirts. And I was like, oh, it'd be fun to add those to the website. Yeah. And that's kind of where the clothing started. And then I started adding more and more clothing, and that is where the sales were coming in. So I started to kind of fade out because I had like natural toys like Play Silks and the Stockmar brand, and I was selling all kinds of like kid stuff. And then like over the years, it just kind of transitioned into a clothing store because that's what was selling. So um yeah, and it's just, I mean, why I've stayed with it is just it fulfills me. I think it's fun. I can contribute to the family income. And it's something I enjoy. So that would be the why for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's so interesting because like I feel like so many of the entrepreneurs that I'm talking to, it's like they kind of start either like a hobby that turns into a career, or they like kind of they kind of navigate that through like, okay, this is just what works for my family at this moment.
Yeah.
And like it's so interesting to hear like how your business, and like I feel this too, is like it kind of like grows with you. So like what my business is part of me. So like as I shift and change paths or kind of focus on different things, like having my business be able to do that with me is like what allows me to stay in business. Because what you're interested in, you're like, no, this is what I'm about now. And then people gravitate towards that. And so I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah, 100%. And it's, if you're not passionate about what you're selling, if you're selling something, then it's going to go through and it's not going to be fun. So it's, as my kids have grown, and like they got out of those stages of playing with the natural toys, and I was just like, kind of faded that out. And so it's been interesting to look back on it all.
And that also totally makes sense with your name. Cause like now, I associate it with like, as a mom aspect and like being a mom, I'm like, these are the clothes that I wear. They're super comfortable. They're like fun, whatever. But then like, it also like, it was totally relevant to more of like momming when they were little with the toys. Like that's also like kind of, it's a name that kind of carried through all of your generations, or like all of your, I don't know, kids, like toddlerhood and then childhood and then teen. It's like, it's kind of, that's like, yeah, that's great that your name was able to do that with you.
Exactly. Yeah. And not even realizing that, in the beginning. So it's been great.
Yeah. Okay. So what would you say the sweetest aspect of owning your own business is?
The sweetest?
Yes.
I would say the flexibility, being your own boss for sure. Not having to, I can make all the decisions, and I do ask for input and advice from other people, but having like complete control is really fun. And then just the flexibility, having the kids at different stages and being able to be there for them, driving them to practice or school or whatever. I can work at, midnight if I want, or I can work on the weekends, or I can work it around my life, which has been just amazing.
Yeah. Okay. And then what are some challenges that you ran into? It could be either at the beginning or things that you're working through now, but like obviously owning your own business is not just all like, it's all on you, right? So like that's the good and the bad. So what are some challenges and how did you navigate them, or how are you actively navigating them?
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It's a lot of work. I think maybe a lot of people don't realize it is. I mean, I'm doing everything like from, creating, purchasing the products to putting them on the website, to taking pictures, to writing the description, to customer service, answering emails, answering phone calls, shipping things, taking care of returns. So it's a lot. And finding that work family balance has been a struggle over the years. I used to be pretty obsessed, like probably for the first 10 years of like, okay, an order came in, I have to get it out. It has to be immediate. And my husband's like, chill out, like you could send it tomorrow. But I was like, no, this is my business. Like it has to go out today. And I kind of got a reputation for having really super fast shipping because I was so obsessed with it. The past couple of years I have relaxed and I'm like, okay, like I need to, spend time with my daughter, and that, I don't need to get this order out today. It can go out tomorrow. And so I have calmed down a whole lot in the past couple of years. And my customers are understanding. And I don't think people expect, I mean, unless you're ordering on Amazon, they're not expecting to get something the next day. And that's kind of the charming thing about ordering from these small businesses is that, you know, you might get it in a week as opposed to the very next day. So I have, yeah, so that was kind of a challenge for a while, just like being obsessed with, um, you know, having to just get products out right away. Um, so that has calmed down a bit. I think another struggle I've had is when I moved into the clothing is you're, you know, selling different sizes, and it can be hard to like keep everything in stock.
Mm-hmm.
I do get a lot of people saying, hey, like, you know, the size is always out of stock. And I don't know, it's just hard to like, especially with companies that sell things in packs. Like I can only buy, you know, I have to buy the small,
Right.
medium, and large. And if the large is out of stock, I might not want to buy a whole nother pack. So that's hard to navigate through. And then also just figuring out what's going to sell. Like, what do people want? I shop and I like buy the things that I enjoy,
Yeah.
but sometimes they're duds. Sometimes they take off. You just never know. So sometimes you're kind of stuck with things for a while, and trying to follow the trends, but also staying true to like the boho hippie style that I've always had with the clothing. So
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine there's a level of like psychicism where you're kind of like have to guess what's going to be in style before I, you know, invest in this, because yeah, ultimately you're carrying that inventory. And I actually had a clothing apparel company. I used to like silkscreen t-shirts and stuff like that. And over the years, I've just been creative in other ways. And so I never really like closed that business, but it just kind of sits there. And sometimes I'll get an inspiration to like silkscreen a shirt, but it was definitely a challenge to carry that inventory and the predictability of like, okay, I want to make this many t-shirts in small, medium, and large. And yeah, if you under predicted, you're stuck with those shirts. So then you have, you know, it's a sale, and then it's like,
yep,
there's just a lot of layers there for the inventory. So I totally respect that for anyone who
definitely.
carries an inventory, because that is a whole
Exactly.
layer. That's a, yeah.
It
Um,
is.
yeah. Okay. So I'm going to kind of jump around with my questions, but so the point of this podcast is also to define success. And so we're curious because like we all have our own definition of success, and I kind of want to make that more normalized, I guess,
Mhm.
to see that different perspective of like, yeah, I'm a small business owner, but like I do consider myself successful, even if I'm not a multimillionaire yet. I always like to add that yet, but you know, like there are aspects, and like you said, that freedom that you have and the flexibility. But yeah, how would you define success? Like, how do you feel like you are successful in your business right now?
I think if you're happy with what you're doing, I mean, that is success right there. You know, obviously if you're, you know, if you're happy but you're losing money, maybe it's time to switch. But you know, I don't feel like for me, you know, I didn't go into this thinking I was going to make like gobs of money. You know, I do
Mhm.
make you know, I do make money. It is a lot of time. But I enjoy doing it. I enjoy like every aspect of it. And to me, that is success right there. I mean, if you can enjoy what you're doing at the end of the day, I've never dreaded it. I've never dreaded, you know, packaging orders. I've never dreaded having to, you know, purchase new items, or it's just like, it's always been an enjoyable thing for me. So I think that's success right there.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can enjoy what you love and you're not losing money, then I feel like that's as a successful business. Um,
Yep.
what is something that you wish you knew when you started? Like if you could go back, like time travel back and just like slip yourself a little note,
Hmm.
what would you tell yourself at the beginning that you have that perspective now?
I think what I said earlier about being like not being so obsessed with like everything has to be perfect, everything has to be like shipped out immediately, everything has to be, you know, I have to have everything in stock. And I think just taking a breath and living your life,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then, you know, running your business on the side instead of like the business being the main focus, and then like oh, and then I'll go live my life, you know, when that's done.
Yes, I love that so
So
much.
yeah, so I think that would be something I would tell myself. Yeah, that would be the biggest thing.
Yeah. And there's another podcast that I really love by this woman, Eden Strader. And she like talks about that all the time. Like you didn't go into entrepreneurship to be like your own worst boss. So if you ever hit that point where you're like, I'm making myself miserable because of the restrictions I put on myself.
Yep.
Like you actually can quit that boss and you can like start over and you can change that process for yourself so that you aren't overcommitting, missing out on family weekends and time with your kids, especially if the point of doing your business was so that you could be like a stay-at-home mom who also contributes. And so I love that your business as the side hustle.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I know like there'd be times I'd say, well, we can only go out of town for 2 days because I have to like be back to like ship these orders. And I finally got over that. And I'm like, let's go for a week and not worry about it, and it's fine. And like my customers understand, they're not going to get mad at me because they didn't get their item, right away. So.
Right. And I assume that a lot of people shopping from small businesses online, they're shopping there because they don't want that Amazon experience, right? They want to feel good about the companies they're supporting. And like, I know that that's for me when I'm buying from a small business, I'm like, sweet, this money is going to someone who's actually able to like use that to better their family or their situation, as opposed to just going into some like black hole of like billions, it's
right.
And so I would much rather wait that extra week or, their website's down for a week while they're on vacation. I love to see that. So, and it makes me feel good as a business owner as well. Like I don't feel guilty about taking that time off because I'm like, no, that's normal. Like we can take a week off and we can close the shop and it will be okay.
Yeah. Life goes on.
Right. Okay. Okay. So let me go through a few more questions. Who is someone that you look up to in your industry?
That's a great question. I don't have anyone like in specific, but I mean, the companies that, I shop from, that I buy clothing from to put in my shop. I really admire people who like can create the clothes or like have the vision to create, or maybe like make the t-shirts, like come up with the t-shirt designs, or are able to actually make the products, which is something, I mean, I've dabbled in like making jewelry for the store. And like I dyed play silks a while ago. So I have sold some of my own stuff. But I do admire people who have that creative ability to actually make the clothes. I also really admire people like in this age of social media. When I started my business, I was like, there was nothing. I was advertising in magazines and like, on like forum. There was no Facebook when I started. So now I'm having to navigate through Facebook and then Instagram, Snapchat. Now we're on to TikTok, which TikTok is something, I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with it, but I totally admire the businesses out there that are, taking advantage of TikTok or YouTube or videos. I think it's just a great way to showcase like what you're selling, what you're doing. And I just haven't, I've dabbled, but I don't have like the energy or maybe the confidence to get on there and do it. So I totally admire those people who are out there doing that, because it helps. I mean, people love seeing videos. So
I'm like so interested because you said like 15 years. I'm like, okay, I was around 15 years ago, but I like didn't realize like, that's definitely like pre-Instagram, like Facebook, I think might have been a thing, but it was still like for college kids. It wasn't like how it's utilized now. And like, obviously we didn't have any of the same, just these big, like going viral, like that wasn't a thing.
Yep. Yeah. So it's much easier now, I would say, to like advertise and get your name out there with the social media. But on the flip side, there's so many more, stores out there and people who are doing, there's a lot more competition right now. So on the flip side, it's so, yeah. But those people who get on the TikTok, I admire that.
I'm trying to force myself a little bit more onto the TikTok world as well, because I know that there's potential there, but I'm just like so resistant. Like I feel like I'm in that phase now where I'm like, I already learned Instagram. Like I already did that. And so it's kind of a reminder to myself to be like flexible and to go with the flow and like get out of your comfort zone, even if you're not interested in it or whatever. It's still kind of like that never get comfortable mindset.
Yes.
And just persevering so that you can keep going. Okay, that's so interesting. Yeah. And is there anybody that you would say that you are inspired or like learning from? It's kind of like, I know that yours isn't necessarily like you said, you're not the one like making the things, but I still feel like you have to be
Right.
very skilled and aware. So is there anyone that maybe you're inspired by? Not necessarily looking up to, but yeah, like that you can take advice from or that you can learn from, because we're trying to cover both of those aspects of,
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I get inspired. I don't know. Um,
It's okay to not know. I'm just trying
yeah,
to think of that too. And as I was asking it, I was like, are there courses that are even out there to teach people how to be online retail sales, or like, I'm currently trying to like master SEO. And that's like where I'm like at. Cause I feel like even though we have TikTok and Instagram and all of these things, it's like people still have to be able to find you. So going back to my
right.
website and like keywords and like all of that.
Yep. And
I
that's
don't know.
definitely a thing I haven't been good about that. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. In some ways I feel like the older I get, the less I even want to deal with that kind of stuff.
Totally.
My husband's been great in helping me with like SEO and website stuff. And all that. So he's super helpful. But yeah, I haven't taken courses or anything. Maybe I should. Maybe that's something I need to do to kind of get out of the funk of like just staying like where I am.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't have anyone in particular at the moment that's
That's
necessarily
okay.
inspiring me, but there's tons
Yeah.
of people out there that, that are, on the daily, like doing amazing things that, just kind of give you energy and like maybe like see another online retail store will pop up in my ads or something and I'll check it out and I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. Like they're doing a great job. And
Yeah.
so that, that kind of gets me excited to see other people and what they're doing. And, but yeah, nobody's specific.
Okay. So you mentioned ads. Have you had any success with doing Instagram ads or Facebook ads? I'm like so intimidated.
Yeah, I have. I haven't done them in a little while, but I have done them in the past or like just boosting ads, and they
Yeah.
do really well. I mean, I
Ooh.
100% notice an increase in sales whenever I'm running an ad. It's just a matter of, sitting down and doing it, or boosting something is super easy. And that's something else that's changing too, is like you used to just boost, you'd
Hmm.
post something and then you'd throw like, 10, 50
Right.
bucks or however much you have to it and it
Right.
goes. But now like with Facebook and Instagram merging and, you can get on Facebook and like create these ads. And so there's
And
a
they're so
whole,
specific. They're so like this demographic and that demographic and this keyword. And if they like this thing, and I'm like,
yep,
oh my gosh, that is so overwhelming to me. So I've kind of,
yep.
I used to boost my posts. And then since it's kind of shifted, I'm like, this is too much. This
Yep.
is scary.
Yeah.
I'm
It
scared.
works though. I mean, for my business, it does work. And I don't like have a continuous running ad. I don't have any right now, but like sometimes I'll just get inspired and create some ads. And so it can be fun. It definitely works.
So good to know. Okay. I feel like I've kind of covered all of my main things. I guess maybe like, do you have any goals for your business as you keep on keeping on? Like, do you see any changes coming soon, or yeah, kind of
Yes.
just where do you see it going?
Yeah, I don't know. I've been kind of having that like, 7-year itch here lately. Um, 5 or 6 years ago, um, I became a yoga teacher. I went through yoga teacher training. So that kind of
Nice.
complemented my business. And now I'm kind of like here at the 15-year mark of my business. So like, I'm kind of like getting that itch to like do something new again. Like, is it going to be with my business or is it going to be something outside? I don't know, but the wheels are kind of turning and I'm like, I've been selling like bell bottoms for like 10 years. Do I want to keep selling bell bottoms? Do I want to, and a lot of the stuff I
Yeah.
sell, like the stuff that I sell, the bell bottoms, especially like it used to be, you couldn't find them anywhere else. And now I search them and there's so many other retailers that are selling the exact same products I'm selling. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking like maybe it's a time to like maybe find some more unique things that are just unique to my store.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great wholesale websites out there now where you don't have to like I used to like Google search hippie wholesale stores, and it was so hard to find stores that made stuff that I could sell. And now it's so easy to find stuff, unique stuff that other people are wanting to sell to me wholesale. So I don't know, maybe just start looking around and maybe shifting. I don't know. I've kind of, I've dropped a few categories in my website here lately. I'm kind of dwindling inventory. I don't know. I feel something coming. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, no, it's so interesting too to have that perspective. Is the longer you do something, then you do see like what's not working anymore. And it's so easy. Like I just went through my website and just like deleted like pages on pages because I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, yes, I can do calligraphy, but like that's not what I'm selling. And like no one's hired me for that in like months. And like if that project arrived organically, of course I would still do it. It's art. But like
Right.
do I need a whole page on my website for that? Like I
Yeah.
really don't. And it's kind of also about like that user experience and having that be so easy for them to find each thing. And for a minute I felt like so cluttered in my life. Like I need to clean my studio right now. I wanted to clean my website up. It's like just there's seasons where you're just like, you know what, it needs a reevaluation. And I always love that fresh face right afterwards where you're like, okay, I feel like this is where I want to be now.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I don't know what it is. You just like get this energy of like wanting a change, and like things are going fine, but like, it's just, yeah, the freshness and the newness is always exciting.
Yes. And I think as a business owner, it's constant. Like you need those seasons of where it's like, everything's going good. I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to leave it alone. That's your rest phase. And I could get into the whole wheel of the year and get like real woo woo, but I mean, just like the year has seasons, like we as people have seasons where we are vibrant and we're ready. And then seasons where we're colder and we need to rest and hibernate and like let those ideas ferment. And so it's good to hear you say those things. Cause I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah. You're in that season where it's just before the next big thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've been through it enough times, like to know, just like being older now, of like, I know that be patient, and just know
Yes.
that like that the right things will come and the right things will happen. So.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. Well, I don't know if I have any other, I'm like looking at my own notes. I'm like, do I want to ask anything else? I feel like I've covered all of my questions. Yeah, unless you have anything else to add, I feel like you can just kind of wrap up with where to find you and all that good stuff.
Awesome. Yep. Yeah. So hitmountainmama.com. That's where you can find me.
Perfect. I'm going to put it in the notes. And also you're on Instagram because I love your Instagram and I follow your Instagram. And sometimes I get to appear on your Instagram.
Yes, Jenn.
Yeah.
Be a model for me. It's so awesome.
It's so fun. Yeah. And I really love that. I love that aspect of your business that you're including other creatives in that process. Cause it's definitely a fun process to be able to do that for other small businesses.
Absolutely. Yep. I'm a big cheerleader of other small businesses and just love
Same.
to work together. And so it's fun.
Yay. Okay, awesome. Well, it was so lovely to chat with you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day for us.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.